All right, everybody. I'm double checking to make sure we are on. So be patient with me for 1 sec here, guys, just to make sure. All right, we are here and we are ready to rock and roll, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here with us on our Patreon monthly webinar. You guys send in the questions for Treb and Aridif, and that's awesome. I know you guys are also waiting for the extended poll. That's already been done. And because we had a lot of fixing of our computers to do, the new Windows update killed all of our sound cards on all the computers. So literally today we've just been repairing computers. But last night we had enough ability to record the Patreon poll on an external audio. So that is there. We just have to get it ready and present it in a video to put it in YouTube so you guys can listen to it. That should be up today or tomorrow. But it is done and it's ready. And Kalina said it was really amazing stuff. So Kalina's here. Thank you, Kalina, for doing this. As always, you're awesome.
Thank you, baby. Look who's talking.
Thank you.
Just a bunch of awesome people over here today.
we try hard to be this awesome, but it's been a crazy month, guys, and we were supposed to get this done last week, and we ended up getting my son back a little early. As all of you know, there's some things that are happening there, so we definitely are back on track, and we're excited. We're basically getting this done, and we're going to be doing a lot of great stuff next month. Next month, we're going to be doing something that's a complete surprise. We talked a little bit about it, not much because we want to keep it a surprise, on the Patreon poll that you guys will be coming tomorrow. And the winner for the poll was today's Earth conditions, politics, weather, violence, war, all that good stuff. But the surprise is Treb related, and that's all we'll give you for a clue. Kalina reminded me to at least give you guys that for a clue. But everything's good. Everything's ready. I'm to get ready to start channeling, guys. So I'm going to neutralize, and then we're going to put Kalina's little post frame up there so you guys can look at her beautiful face while I'm neutralizing. But I'm going to be back in 5 to 7 minutes, guys, and we're going to start jumping right into the questions. Love you guys, and we'll see you in 5 to 7.
See you in 5 to 7, guys. Love you guys.
All right, everybody. All right, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and start channeling Treb Aridif, and Kalina will ask the questions. We're going to go right up until Jeremy has to get home off the bus, which will be about an hour, 10 hour and 12 minutes. Just to let you guys know, I want to thank all of you who have supported us here on Patreon. I know I say it a lot, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You guys have done us a huge energetic giving, and that giving's led us to being able to give more to you guys, but also the collective, and I want to thank you guys for that. It means the world to me and Kalina. So we love you guys, and thank you so much for every bit of support and every bit of love and every great comment. And the next month or so, we're going to get back in to being on the Patreon page much more. There's still so much stuff that we haven't been able to share with you guys that we want to. And everything now is at its smoothing point with my son and all the stuff that goes on there. So the next month is that transitional phase for us too. And we want to thank you guys for being a part of this and being patient. We love you guys with all of our heart. Thank you. All right, guys, let's do it. All right. Greetings to all. This is Aridif, that is A-R-I-D-I-F, and this is its spell. We understand many of you have many queries for this day, but before diving in, yes, the true things in which we always express. The first, above and beyond all things expressed within this day, to know, feel, and perceive that you are loved is of the utmost importance. And secondly, it is our greatest excitement to co-create with you, and we wish to express yet a third thing for this day before entering the queries. Greetings, Kalina.
Greetings, Aridif. Thank you for both you and Treb being here with us today, and we love you and you are loved.
Yes, of course, we love you also, and you are loved. It is our greatest pleasure. You may begin your queries at your leisure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So our first question comes from Martin for you, who says, do any of my hybrid children, incarnated or not yet incarnated, have a message for me?
Yes, of course. There are multiple energies that co-create with you upon that level of hybridization. Those that are in hybrid programs co-creating through either your DNA or energetic coding. One specific entity that has incarnated wishes to step forward and express a simple message. One moment, we will connect you. Hello, and and my name is Lilano, and I am happy to share information, and I'm happy to share my voice for you to hear, and for you to be able to understand my energy. I am half of your physical body, and my other parent is a being that's called a gray hybrid human. So I have 3/4 of human genes, but only half from yours. The other 25% is a mixture of many humans. I have been able to understand a lot about Earth lately. Earth is something that is an important place for all of us to study, because part of our being born is to help all of you and all of your family on Earth to be able to reach past just talking to other Earth beings. There are so many different races of human beings and so many races of other types of beings that are aware of Earth and that know about Earth, and they want to share some of their love with you. And today is my chance to share my love. So I wanted to tell you I love you very much, and I'm always trying to communicate with you. Sleeping is the easiest time when your body rests and your soul is still awake. So as you lay down in the evening before sleeping, open up your ears and open up your heart energies to receive. And if you can feel my energy, then the conversations will be better. And when you feel the energy in your body, then start allowing that energy to come directly into your throat chakra and third eye chakra energies. It will help you listen and feel and understand. And even if you can't open it all the way, just remember that as you're in the sleep state, we meet more than twice in each week. And it's not just me. It's other of sons and daughters and others of the hybrid races who are working more frequently with humans to try to bring the energy of humans and extra humans and extra hybrids together. I love you and thank you so much for giving part of yourself for me to be alive. We are back without hesitation or delay. You may begin with your next query.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
All right. So our next question comes from Khen, who says, how do my energetic bodies now appear as compared to our first interaction?
Yes, of course. Between our last and first interaction, there was a great deal of growth. But since our last interaction to this now moment, your third eye has opened a great deal. Your crown chakra also opening up and tuning in to the sound vibration frequencies that allow your own energy to open exponentially. The psychic narration of your own self throughout your higher self and your lower fractal consciousness are starting to come into an assimilance with one another. What this means is that your day-to-day brain and your higher self are starting to see eye to eye about where your progression is. Once this occurs, it opens up the complete network of your psychic intuition energy to the highest capacity of your third eye, crown chakra, throat chakra, and heart chakra has for the ability to be open. Opening up the rest of your energies, such as your heart chakra, your third chakra, and opening up the parts of your third eye that connect directly to your throat chakra, will allow even more energy in. The more that you stay in that moment within your day-to-day self, the more that you live in that now, the more that you place yourself in whatever excitement is accessible to you in that moment, the more this energy comes to fruition, the more that that energy of understanding and assimilance comes as a very great precipice of your life. Your guides are working overtime with you to co-create the greatest experience and expression of openness available. You are loved.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Of course.
And to Kern. All right, so our next question comes from Jeff. And Jeff says, Aridif, could you please tell me what you can about the entity I called Sam, my black Labrador retriever that passed away 8 to 9 years ago? I've not been able to make any kind of connection to her through meditation. Our connection was extremely strong, and it was very clear to me that she was self-aware, not your average dog. Any information you could give regarding her connection to me, messages from her would be much appreciated.
But of course, the reason why you have not been able to tune into that vibration are twofold. The first is that this entity is no longer in non-physical state. It lives as a part of an incarnated energy, one in the next 3 to 5 years that you will bump into again. The energy of co-creation also points that this entity was much more self-aware than the average second density being. Part of this reason is that just as you are going from your third to fourth density energy, all of the animals and plants within your Earth collective are going from second to third density. This means they are starting to become self-aware. They are starting to become that sentient energy above and beyond the sentient level of those that are second density from most humans' perspectives. Another reason, in the second reason, that this entity was more self-aware than the average being is because this entity is one of very low percentage of beings that are second density in nature, that are not truly second density beings. They are manifestations of your higher self in order to co-create an energy of love, appreciation, friendship, etc. That energy of creating with this being, that close bond that was felt, opened up a great deal of energy within you. It opened up certain levels of your ability to be empathetic towards those that are second density. And although loving animals or loving second density beings was not a problem before creating with this entity, it only increased that level exponentially. By co-creating with fractals of your own consciousness, after those entities pass into the non-physical region, they have one of two opportunities, one of two roads or two choices. One of those is to reintegrate with a higher fractal consciousness. When that occurs, they are not reachable because they are not able to be connected to as their personal identity, as it is more so melded back into that higher fractal consciousness. The second choice is to re-manifest and reincarnate into another being. The entity that you would connect it to is chosen, the second option, to reincarnate as another entity that will come into your experience. And once they are able to do this, it brings you an opportunity to understand and connect even higher levels than before. We wish to express to you that as you co-create with this entity that you know as that reincarnated version of the entity that you loved so greatly. Try to remind yourself that it is not the same being. Yes, the soul level is the same. Yes, the consciousness and fractalization is the same. But this new entity shall bring a new identity to itself. Just as you do not wish to leave your physical body, reincarnate, and be only and wholly associated with the previous incarnation that you are from. Remind yourself of this as you step forward. When you co-create with this being, you will know it within 1 month of co-creating with it. You will know it deeply in your heart and mind. The probabilities of you co-creating with this being is over 73% in the next 3 years. And when it goes to the 7-year period, it is almost at 97% probability. So the continuation of feeling love for the being that was, but also the being that you are, is highly essential. So thank you for this.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
all right, our next question is for Treb.
Yes, 1 moment.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Lena.
Good evening, smiling Treb. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing very well. And how are you doing in this day?
I am doing fabulous. I'm very excited to be with you all today.
Yes, I'm very excited as well.
All right, so you have a question from Alan, and he wants me to read you a background so you can get the context of the question. So he says, several years ago on New Year's Eve, I was at a celebration where I experienced an amazing event. I witnessed many craft that began making geometric formations in the northern sky. One after another, they blinked on like orange fire-colored light bulbs. They produced triangles and other shapes. But soon after, the display seemed to die down as the rest of the area began shooting fireworks. Later that night, I decided to go back outside. I soon saw a wave of craft that flew one by one only a few miles away at a very low altitude into a canyon. I could see that the lights would just fade out very gently as they traveled. My boy, who was a preschooler at the time, and myself were already pretty emotional and almost overcome with excitement. It was then that I was prompted to reach out to the occupants with my mind and heart. I asked them to please show me that what was happening was a genuine encounter. It was then that one craft broke from us the flight path and flew towards my vantage point at an even lower altitude. I could see the craft was pyramid-shaped, and the orange glow seemed to behave like a mix of orange light and fire that was emanating from the bottom of the craft and would envelop the craft with the glow flowing towards the top. The next craft flew virtually right over me and at an even lower altitude still. I've been so fortunate to have had other profound experiences since then. Can you please provide some knowing about the occupants? They gave me such a gift. I want to thank them. My love and light to all who are co-creating the opportunity to act with me.
Yes! The entities that were in the specific crafts that were co-creating that energy with you were the beings and entities that you would know as the benevolent versions of the Elohim. These entities have worked with you since childhood and created energies with higher self fractions and energies of your own self. And as they visited many times in the dream state, they desired to have that interaction with you on the physical way, manifesting themselves into your dimensional energy. Once that happened, they knew that you would be excited to create energies with them. They knew that your own awareness was allowing you to feel that energy and to know what specific energy of exchange that you desired. This geometric patterns that they gave you was helping opening your energies up as you had desired and as you had requested to create with these energies. So after they did this with you, and after they knew that you would request their energy, the one representative that came closest to you was able to directly connect more telepathically with you, and some of that energy you understood, but some you did not understand. That energy continues to this day with him creating energies with you and creating energies in your dream states. The reason the energies came from the northern direction is they work very closely with you and your archangel energies. And the archangel that you co-create with, that gives you the most of your energies, and that creates in your dream states the most, prefers that northern energy as its own representation of air or wind elemental energies, and that was important for them to show you through symbols as well. So start going through your memories and start touching your higher self and remind yourself that air energies are very important to you, and try to investigate as much as you are able to understand and as much as you are able to investigate about how yourself, the Elohim, and the air elementals are connected.
That's beautiful, and I want to add a little something too, Treb, if I could. Rob and I have also had experiences with these orange crafts. One was on a New Year's Eve, which we sat and watched. We had to make sure it wasn't Chinese lanterns, and it wasn't. And then another one, so we had one on 4th of July and another one that appeared New Year's Eve. Were these the same beings, Treb?
Yes, these were not the same direct beings. The one that you and the host were co-creating with were different versions of beings. These entities were humanoid and hybrid versions of what you call Yael and Pleaidian. And those energies were meant for both of you to see together, so that both of you understood that when you worked together in your excitement, that things would manifest much more quickly.
Yeah, yeah. The ones I got the feeling that the ones I saw, a lot of it was also because they love to see fireworks. They love the celebration. That's so cool. That's so cool. So I guess watch out for the orange crafts. That gives us an idea of who they may be. That's the Elohim and Yael and Pleaidian up there.
Yes, and it's very exciting as well.
Very exciting. I very much agree. Thank you, Treb and Alan. And our next question is from Katie. Katie didn't say who she prefers, so I guess that'll be up to you and Aridif who wants to answer the next question.
Yes.
So, Katie says, why do the ETs make crop circles, and what type of messages do they have when they make these?
Yes. The energies of crop circles are different from beings to beings or race to race. One of the races that makes a great deal of those are gray and gray hybrid beings. These are sometimes very benevolent beings, and they are creating these energies because they desire to encode information and ideas to the human collective to share, so that all of you can see in the larger sense that you are not alone and that there are visitations and extraterrestrials that are visiting you. Aridif also wishes to add upon this. One moment, please. We are back yet again. This is Aridif. First of all, when you are looking at the concept, crop circles altogether, these energies are co-creations. They are not just extraterrestrials coming down to give out information. It is a co-creation between the human collective. There are many humans that desire to understand extraterrestrial nature, but the majority of humans desire to understand the true nature of their evolution. Parts of these energies are co-created with the human collective to show your own genealogy, to show your own history, but also to show each and every one of you that in your ability, deep within each and every one of you individually, you have the opportunity to create and make contact directly. These entities are showing this energy, whether it is through geometric patterns that include the subconscious energy, or whether it is through a primitive version of designs, just to show that they are too elaborate for the basic human energies to create. They do this for the co-creative measure of all of you. Some of these are human created, as many of you are well aware. The entities that are humans that do this are doing so for multiple reasons, but the extraterrestrial energies that do create these do not mind when humans are recreating those energies. In fact, when humans start recreating those energies unknowingly, mocking or exactly stealing certain patterns from other energies, that co-creation opens up other grids of energies for the Earth collective consciousness, including the ability for humans to share encoded information and energy with one another without diving deeply into the human mindset. So this energy is something that will continue until either the entirety of the Earth is ready for that open communication, or until the group that is already making internal contact co-create in larger proportions with more of their excitement, more of themselves. Until then, that energy will continue and be a part of the encoding process for those of you that do desire that form of co-creation. We thank you for this.
Thank you. Sorry, it took me a while to get the microphone to unmute.
We understand.
Our next question comes from Marco, who says, if consciousness is not within us, but we are in our consciousness, how does consciousness form?
Yes, first of all, consciousness is already and always existing. The consciousness is not either external from the body or internal. It is both. When you look at your own physical body, it encases consciousness, yet consciousness exists outside of your physical body. Some of you look at this as a conundrum, others look at it as a great gift, but the internal consciousness is only implanted within the physical body as to experience physical existence. The non-physical consciousness does not need to experience physical reality, but when it does desire to experience physical reality, it fractalizes itself, and that energy of fractalization occurs from larger consciousnesses. So when you see a universe being created, what does that mean? It means something that is larger than the entire consciousness of an entire universe desired to experience physical reality. So it broke a part of itself off. Consciousness in that way, in creator form, God form, whatever you desire to call that energy that is omnipotent and omnipresent, is a co-creative fraction of consciousness, dividing itself for the pure experiential quality of being physical. That is why in our entire universe, each and every one of us combined, throughout the entirety of linear time perspective, the birth of the universe to the death of the universe, all entities and all star systems, all elemental beings combined equal that one universal aspect. But there is also an addition to that universal aspect. That is the construct of consciousness non-physically of that being. It is something that within our own physical encasements we cannot perceive fully, but when we direct our own energy towards the concept of what lies beyond the physical universe in way of its external consciousness, it is something that we can slightly tap into, something that we can slightly perceive. there are limitations in being embedded in the physical body. It is not that we are not able to access information. It is that we are only able to access certain forms and levels of information at one time. If you were to spend your entire lifetime to the 10th power, focused only on the external energy of the universal construct that all of us share, you would still not have 1/1,000,000th of a fraction of energy of understanding, as it is so much larger and complex than the entire universe itself. We all focus our energies on the parts of the universe that we desire to perceive, yourself and ourself included. So by looking at this idea, you have already started tapping in to fractions of that energy. It is something that can be understood in an idealistic form. It can be understood in a complex version. But understanding the basic nature of physical versus non-physical energy, instead of that is larger than or smaller than, gives you a better understanding. The nature of incarnating into the physical reality altogether is something that is very complex and would take us long periods of time just to break the surface. But we will share with you that in the non-physical state, all things are accessible. In the physical state, there is a limit of version of energies that are perceivable to you. That is why non-physical desires physical existence, so that it may have a limited point of view and experience it from that perspective. We thank you for this.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
All right. Aridif, you have a question from Melissa.
Yes.
Do beings in higher dimensions of reality dream the same way that humans do?
Now, by the word dream, we take two definitions. One, to hope, to wish, or to create. But we believe you are talking and expressing your point of view on the second definition, where you are going into dream state. But we will give you both of those versions. The first definition of dream, to hope and to be excited. Yes, that is what we live. In our experience, your desire as humans in wishing and hoping is to feel as if something could be within your reach, but is most likely outside of that reach. That is why you aspire to do those things. That is why you hope and wish that one day it can happen. To us, it is a much different perspective. We know that it is available. We know that if we place our energy in that excitement and point it towards our desired manifestation, it will come to fruition. Now, when you are speaking of the other form of dreaming, where you are in a dream state, it is very different for each race. Our own race specifically does not sleep. It does not need sleep. Our reality is even more loosely constructed than your dream state. Where most humans dream are before third and fourth density, or directly between those two areas. Where we are co-creating is what you would call the template level of creation, between the sixth density and non-physical. That energy is where our heightened form of consciousness goes to. But we do not sleep when we are doing this. We do have to focus the majority of our energy, but our race specifically does that already. This is why Treb Bor Yit NE is able to speak to 25 beings at once. We prefer to speak to one at each time. By doing this, we are able to focus all of our energy on each interaction. That gives us the ability to focus, connect, and experience even more so a non-limited version of what most humans perceive in even their dream states. We hope this makes sense to you, and we hope that this gives you a greater understanding of the difference between dream state. Yes, one moment. Treb Bor Yit NE also wishes to touch upon one construct. Yes! Within our own race of co-creating and connecting, We do have forms that are not sleep states, that are not us going to bed or sleeping, but there are times where we are able to meditate and we are able to connect more deeply. This is not really a dream, but it is a heightened version of our perspective and looking and entering different versions of things that we desire. So that is the closest that our race comes to dreaming. There are some races that close their physical bodies down completely, just as most humans do when they are sleeping. But most of the time it is not to dream. It is only to go non-physically where their physical body is not able to go. We are back without hesitation or delay.
Thank you so much, Aridif. Actually, the next question is for Treb.
Yes, one moment. Yes!
Hey, Treb. Renee has a question for you. It says, on the suggestion of a friend, I used dowsing rods and asked you, Treb, a few questions. Did I do it accurately? And were the couple of questions I received correct?
Yes! I am connecting to that energy more deeply. One moment, please. Yes! The accuracy of your doing, the actual movements of the energy, was over 80% correct, approximately 84% correct, and the answers reflect that same amount of information. Most of the energies were correct, but the context of the way that the energy is brought into your mind and understood by yourself has a little difference in the way that the energies and entities were trying to answer. It is less to do with your own accuracy and more to do with the energies that are representing the entity's version of expressing an idea and your energy of expressing the same concept.
Thank you.
Yes!
All right, so this is from Matt for either one of you guys that wants to answer this. Matt says, greetings. I have a problem with my short memory. Things like I forgot where to put my car keys 2 seconds ago. Although I have an exceptional long-term memory, also I'm not good at direction at all if it relates. Could you please explain on that and if you have any suggestions? Much love.
Yes, of course. This is Aridif as we are back in that co-creation. Your mind, your brain, your physical organ that is called a brain is a computer program. It is something that calculates, that perceives, that is very much so as a computer is. The part of your brain that deals with that short-term memory is different than the rest of your brain. It is not decaying, it is not sick, it is not ill. It is only different in the way it perceives. Part of this was by design, by your co-creation. Another part of this was your own vibrational learning from others around you. The way that you learn as a child, the way that you perceive the world as a child, helped create energies that lack within your short-term memory. Part of this is consciousness related as well. Part of this energy is to help teach you to be more so in the moment. And we understand when your short-term memory occurs and it becomes difficult, that energy can draw you back into the past because you are trying to remind yourself more so. You are trying to keep on top of that energy. But if you allow yourself that energy on those things that are less important to you than the others, to let go of worrying about what just occurred or what you just did, it gives you a great deal of practice to being fourth density beings. In the fourth density, time in its linear form starts breaking down. This means that when you grab your keys from your keychain, take those keys outside of your house, lock the door to your house, unlock the door to your car, sit in your car and drive your car away from your house. That is all practical order from a linear time span. But in fourth density, you can experience driving your car away from your house before ever finding your keys. You can also lock your door behind you before ever leaving your house. These energies are hard to understand for the majority of human collective consciousness, but when you are in the moment, none of those things matter. This energy is a practical energy to help you prepare for that. By being in that moment now, by not focusing on the lack of that memory that is short-term in nature, it will give you a great deal better form of short-term memory. By looking at your future in near moments, by stepping outside of your now, it can be just as difficult for you energetically and degrade that version of fourth density energy that you are looking for in that same form. So try to remind yourself, whether stepping slightly in your past or slightly in your future, that it does take away from that now moment. The more that you practice being that now moment, the more ideas will come to you in a much quicker form. The more that part of your brain that is different will start reforming, reprogramming, and connecting to itself. We also suggest to you that if you are looking from your third density perspective, trying to create a healing format for this energy, then what we suggest is utilize it just as a computer would, by creating practice upon that energy, by working exclusively with those energies that you would call mind puzzles or mind games that are meant to stimulate that portion of your computer. By doing this, it will also help you in your practical day-to-day experience. We thank you for this.
Thank you so much, and that definitely, I know that helps a lot of people, certainly helps me. So,
yes, of course.
All right. So our next question is for you, Aridif, from Susan, who says, how do we adjust our frequencies best for co-creation with you and others in higher densities? You are loved.
Yes, first of all, greetings. Secondly, you are also loved. And thirdly, we also love you. When dealing with desiring co-creation with us, that desire is all you need. But to prepare yourself, energetically speaking, mentally speaking, all you have to do is take your vibration to the level of 100% openness and 100% excitement. By doing both of those things, receiving our energy and information comes much easier. Some of you work so strongly with your mental body that you would dissect all of the words that we would express individually to try to see if they are hidden meanings. But by allowing yourself the openness and excitement, even if you are not able to comprehend what we are saying in that moment, when you listen back to that same information at a different point of the day, at a different point of your year or week, that vibration will sink into, whether it is through your mental state, emotional state, or subconscious state of the mind. We work upon multiple levels to co-create with you, as do many of those that are higher dimensional beings. We are not only speaking words, we are giving energy. We are encoding our energy and words to co-create even deeper understandings. Being open to the receptivity of this gives you a great deal of expansion within that encoded energy. By allowing yourself to open the mental state, emotional state, and receptivity, it gives you a greater advantage in receiving our information.
Thank you, Aridif. And our next question comes from Heather, who says she has a question for you. Who says, is there a difference between higher geometric dimensions and higher dimensions in reality space-time?
Yes, first of all, the higher geometric patterns that are in the higher geometric dimensions are one and the same with higher densities. Although you are perceiving different energies in different formats when it comes to, for instance, the third dimensional energy of a cube, placing it in the fourth dimension, it creates much more, such as a hypercube. When you look at both of those energies, they are one and the same. In higher densities, you are able to perceive the higher forms of that geometry, but you are also able to receive that in your dimension if you desire. The only reason that most humans do not perceive it is because of the density and dimensional energies feeling separate. Being a multi-dimensional being, you have access to those higher dimensionals. And when you place the higher forms of geometric patterns in higher dimensions, you are able to perceive that by shifting your dimensional state as well. So yes, they are one and the same, but each of them can be utilized in different practical energies. You can utilize thought concepts and thought forms that create geometric patterns in higher dimensions without ever being able to perceive them from a higher dimension, and still open up a great deal of internal understanding, both mentally and energetically speaking. Play with those energies more, and you will see the integration of your higher dimensional self also.
Thank you.
Yes, we thank you for this. We also rest for Rob's own concern of time. The time quote that was given before.
Oh, it's only 3:06, so we've still got quite a bit of time.
Yes, it is a reiteration of his own concern for that energy.
Okay. Our next question comes from Randy, who says, what is your perspective on the phenomenon known as the Mandela effect?
Yes, of course. This is not necessarily what you would perceive as an effect that is energetic or that is odd, that is out of place. It is only the quicker vibration of two different entities experiencing the same thing, but shifting through their twin soul perspective. For those of you who understand what we've expressed by the twin soul, understand that when shifting one slight position through that twin soul mechanism, it is enough for two different entities to be in close enough reality to share that memory that is truly different in version. For those of you who do not understand the twin soul mechanism, the oversoul, through its own state of mitosis, osmosis, and energy replication, it created a twin of itself. Each and every one of the oversouls, 144,000, creating their own twin to allow all of the versions of their own probability creations to be had. This is done so that each entity within the oversoul has the possibility to shift any vibration that they desire. We've expressed this by placing it akin to a deck of cards. The card that is in the middle of a deck that is spread out in front of you from side to side. The center card is where your vibration and your focus of reality is placed. That energy is held directly in the oversoul. If you go to the right or to the left of that center card, those vibrations are probabilities of your experience that are slightly different. For instance, instead of taking a left turn to detour your highway traffic claw, you took a right. Instead of being in one thought process of happiness, you are in slighter forms of happiness. These are all very close versions of that reality that you are in. But because you create your reality in each moment, you have the opportunity to change the vibration drastically. Those cards that are directly left and right are close representations. The cards that are 20 and 30 cards to your left or right are completely different versions, where you have different jobs, different mates, husbands, wives, children, etc. Then you have the cards that are hundreds or thousands of cards away from the center. Those are where you are different sex, you are different mindset, you are born a different race, a different ideal of your entire incarnation. You have access to all of those cards. Most of you stay within close proximity of those cards. Each time you make a new decision, you are shifting slightly from your now position to the next. This is why we express there is nothing but the now moment. This is why we express you can create any ideal that you desire. So in the Mandala effect, two entities are within the very close proximity of the center card. And when one entity is at their center, the other slightly to the right, they are co-creating a version where that matched information comes into their understanding. The memories of one entity can be faulty, which creates no Mandala effect. It can be where you are slightly remembering it wrong or incorrectly because your brain accesses that version also. So being aware of knowing whether it is a mistake in the mind or a complete slight vibrational shift through your twin soul can be important, because if you are co-creating with shifting into your twin soul into a slightly different reality, it proves to you that it is possible, and it gives you permission to shift into larger shifts. Eventually, if you shift long enough and strongly enough, then you are able to perceive that you can shift literally into any environment that you desire. We thank you for this.
Thank you so much. I know a lot of people wondered about that. So our next question appears to be anonymous for you, Aridif, and the question is, what is the best way to move energies within ourselves?
Yes, first of all, utilizing visualizations for most humans seems to be the most effective tool within that energy. Utilizing the intent behind moving it is enough. If you were to close your physical eyes and focus on the visualization and then place an intent, that seems to be the most effective combination and actualization of that process. But those of you who do not visualize can feel that energy outward. You can express to yourself that when closing the eyes, I feel as if this energy is here. This is what the color would appear. This is what I feel it would look at, even if there are no visualizations to complete that format. Then placing the intent behind the energy of the co-created version of your visualization, it can push that energy into different places. Energy manipulation is utilized for a great deal of your meditational practices and energetic expansions within your experience. What we suggest, simply place the intent first. Once you do this, if you can feel that energy shifting, then you know that there are no more steps required. If that does not work, then close your physical eyes, visualize or try to visualize that energy, and then place the intent. When saying to place an intent, we do not mean saying all of the resistance within my root chakra should be removed. That is a demand. The intent is to be clear of fear, to be clear of resistance, to be clear of all things that blocks progress. That intention is not simply that demand. Although those of you who are strong enough in your will and abilities can simply state a direct concept to your own self as a demand and create that experience as such. But most of you have not acquired that ability because you still feel that shifting that vibration from having resistance to not having resistance is very difficult. Practice, visualize, utilize your intents, and you will see higher forms of manipulation of your own internal and external energy also. We thank you for this.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Let's see. So Ashley has a question for you, and she says, I was wondering if you could tell me more about the aquatic being that had rainbow scales and looked female that came to me in a dream and touched my face. Why was this being interested in me? Thank you and love you.
Yes, of course. We love you also as you are loved. When you perceive these entities, the reasons why they are co-creating with you in your dream state is the same reason that most entities do co-create with you in your sleep state. It is because, first of all, they desire contact. Secondly, it is the easiest accessible area to co-create large experiences with you. And thirdly, that is when you yourself are most receptive to that energy. Now, the alternate reason why these entities desire to co-create with you is because they perceived you. You are in that same oversoul and soul family to many of these entities. To co-create an experience with is exciting. Humans are very interesting for many of the races that are the galactic collective consciousness, because you are multidimensional, because you are shifting between densities, and because all of you have limited yourselves to such a high degree that you have mastered the version of manifesting limitations, or better expressed, mastering the ability to not master certain things in your experience. By limiting yourself, you have mastered what you have tried to unmaster before. So this energy is a creative format that draws in a great deal of beings. These entities that are aquatic in nature are truly in that energy of aquatic beings. These are water-dwelling beings in planets that have approximately only 4% of its own surface covered with land and the rest with forms of water, whether it be in internal land lakes or externalized oceans. The energies for these beings are found in the constellation that most of you would call Cassiopeia. That energy is some that has connected to humans multiple times before in non-physical and physical ways, but have not co-created with humans physically for thousands of years. These entities are co-creative partners and dear friends with those Syrian beings that you would call the Dogon, the ones who visited their namesake human race, also known as the Dogon within Earth. These beings worked energetically with him because they are both aquatic in nature and both desire great contact with humans. One thing we could suggest to you as you are opening up your energy towards them, to start playing with your water element energy, swimming, drinking more water, standing in the rain, having tanks of water around you. Whatever way you can find in your mind and in your excitement to create with water elemental energy will be highly beneficial for your co-creation with these beings. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a question?
No, we said yes, of course.
Okay. Sorry about that.
What's that?
It's the way that delay sometimes does that. Casey has a question for you. Casey says, I have had a surprising lack of success in asking multiple channelers to bring through information on Antares. I feel a special connection to Antares. I might be mispronouncing that. Could you please share anything you may feel relevant to this now moment? My love and gratitude. Thank you.
But of course, the Antares energy is deeply connected to you. It is also deeply connected with your co-creation with crystalline substances. Antares is a system with multiple races and multiple densities. Your co-creation happens to be with the entire collective of Antares. The Antares system carries a very similar vibrational frequency to your overall auric field. That is why it resonates with you. But further than this, you have had multiple incarnations in the Antares region. One race specifically that connects with you from the Antares are those that are within what you would call fifth density energy, that are approximately 20% in to the fifth density energy in this moment. Those beings are humanoids, but are multi-colored in the way that you would perceive very vibrant rainbow forms of color. They are not colored as humans are, between a very white color to a very dark brown color. They are, in fact, from red oranges to very purple oranges. Or, yes, we are not utilizing the correct word, hues of red to hues of dark purples and all things between. Those energies are physical skin for those beings. So if you were to look at them, you would not perceive them as human beings, but they are very humanoid in their build, very similar to what you perceive us to be, humanoid in nature, but much different construction of the physical body. These entities also carry different forms of fingers, toes, eyes, and this is what shows up a great deal in your manifesting your understanding and drawing out of your crystalline substance the other races and other beings that you have co-created with. That third eye alignment, very much so, is to do with your Antares connection. The Antares collective conscious energy is very similar to the energy of your own opening of the third eye process. Tap into that energy more deeply, visualize where Antares is in the constellation and focus your energy towards that star, connecting with crystal substances in your hands, upon your chest, into your heart chakra region, and over your brow, third eye region, can also increase that energy exponentially. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Of course.
Our next question comes from Raisha, who says, hello, dear ones. Corey Good speaks of the Anshar as our future selves who have picked up this current timeline of ours and have come to assist us. They say our timeline, our future timeline, contained a catastrophic event with the sun exploding, thus propelling our ascension unity consciousness. This sun sneeze was part of the sun's natural expansion or out-breath, which is a repeating pattern next to happen around 2020. Can you speak of the sun's natural cycle of expansion explosion? Also, do you recognize the Anshar as future selves of the human race? Thank you and much love.
But of course, and greetings also, Resha. We wish to express to you that this group of beings are one probability of future humans. In our own co-creation, they are one of the smallest percentages of human future incarnations. The way that we perceive the universe is not held within bounds of fear. It is not held within bounds of concern or worry. So when we perceive the highest probabilities, we perceive those that are co-creating from excitement rather than fear. There will be a small percentage of human beings who, through their own fear, will create that version of their own reality and then enter the future incarnation cycle of entities that are similar. Although the story and understanding is very known to us, that name is very unknown to us. So we only connect to those humans who do live through a similar lineage of future that you are expressing to us. Now, when going into the sun's natural cycle, this will be dependent upon that energy of co-creation with the other bodies. The sun is its own entity onto itself, but it is also fractalized its own consciousness in the way that you perceive its fractal consciousness is all of the physical heavenly bodies within the solar system. the planetary consciousness being the largest of those. The Earth is within imbalance in this moment. It is going towards balance. All of the other planets are also in alignment with that vibration. That shows to us that the sun, although most humans perceive it to be very still and very held together, we see it as still volatile, as it can create much less of its volatility. Some burst in energies that are perceived as multiple different formats of its own solar activity, and that energy is starting to wind down. But just as we have expressed previously in the evening before, throughout your Earth collective, through your weather collective, and through the entirety of the solar system, there will be energies that are unstable before it stabilizes. This means that you can encounter difficulties with the star system that you know as the sun, but it will not be something that is so wholeheartedly devastating to the Earth collective that it will cause any differences in the way that you experience your incarnation. Now, there can be, as you are aware, multiple probabilities of Earth. There are probabilities that create those large sunbursts that create energies of shutting down your technology completely around the entirety of the globe. But even if that were to occur in this timeline, that is at its highest probability in this moment, it would not shut all of the Earth down. It would shut large portions of technology down, but would be created very easily fixed throughout your human understanding. We understand this is something that causes a great deal of fear. For those of you that focus on the version of your Earth that is not impeded by the sun, but is nurtured by the sun, that is given life by the sun, and that is in balance with the sun, all of you will only benefit from the co-creations of your solar activity. Now we understand the nature of stars themselves can be from high volatility to very low versions of volatility. In our perspective, your solar class or your sun's activity only holds a small amount of volatility, and that is mainly to do with Earth's collective consciousness. The more that you go into your own lack of volatility, the more you create versions of the Earth, which then in turn creates versions with that solar co-created and collective consciousness that calms down also. We would not fear unless it is your desire to create that experience which needs fear or which requires something to be afraid of, and you are deeply loved.
That's beautiful, and it just shows that we ourselves have just as much power as the sun, doesn't it, Aridif? So we are all that interconnected.
Yes, because you all are part of the sun. Even though your physical bodies are not embedded within the sun, your souls are part of the sun's soul. Your Earth is a part of the sun's soul, and each of you are part of your Earth soul. So looking at it in the fractalized constructs, knowing your own balance will tell you a great deal about the larger forms of consciousness that you are part of.
Wonderful. And I know Jeremy's going to be getting off the bus soon. It's 3:28 right now. Do you think you have time for one more question, Aridif?
If this question requires a quick answer, we will take one query.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this one might be a little too long. Sorry to skip that one.
Yes, it is fine. In fact, we will disconnect for this now moment, as it will take us one moment to disconnect.
Okay.
We wish to express to all of you that it is a great excitement to have co-created with you. As you are aware, when we explore one another's energy, we understand more about ourselves. We wish to congratulate you all, and we wish to thank you. We will bid you all adieu for this evening. You are loved. Thank you yet again, Kalina, as you are loved also.
Thank you so much, Aridif and Treb. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being here and sharing your time
We
with
bid
us.
you adieu, as the bus is here for Jeremy, so we must reconnect to Rob. Adieu.
I do. Hi, baby.
Hey,
The bus is here. The bus is here, so if you guys want to hold on. That's what Aridif said. I don't hear it.
Second, guys.
Let me go check. Let's see. I think he heard something else, but the bus looks like it's gonna be here. I don't see it. It's down the road. Gosh, he's sensitive, isn't he? Yeah.
I love you guys very much.
I can't hear you. So your mic is not on.
Right, your mic's on. They can hear me through your mic.
Yeah.
I love you guys very much. We're gonna shut it down now, but we love you guys, and that other video will be out soon. Love you.
We love you guys also, and Brendan gave a very good idea that I'm going to talk to Rob about creating a poll, which was a very good point about how some of you guys are not able to post as quickly because we're all in different time zones in the world, so you may not get the link at a fair time to post as quickly when you see it. So Brendan, thank you for that. I will have you guys vote on that soon to see if you prefer things to be read in the order that they come, if you want us to choose them at random, or if you would prefer us to maybe take your names and questions, cut them out and draw them out of the bowl, kind of like, let you and the universe co-create whose questions are read. So thank you, Brendan, for that point. I thought it was a very good and valid point. We got a lot of questions read, and I'm sorry, guys, that we couldn't get all the questions. You know how it is with the timing, but we're gonna try to shoot things sooner for June, so it's not held at the very end of the month. So we love you guys so much. Savita, by the way, check your email. Yeah, we love you guys. Sorry we have to run. We've got to get Jeremy situated. And we love you guys so much. Rob says he loves you too. And remember, Trev has a gift for you guys. So it's going to be very exciting. So you guys are going to get slammed with a lot of stuff on the Patreon page. So love you guys. Again, I know I keep saying that. So thank you for sharing your time with us today. It's really fun. I definitely learned a lot. And we will see you guys soon.